What's up, everybody? I'm Katie.
And I'm Morgan.
And this is For Your Misinformation. We are two Midwestern feminists here to break down the political news that you need to know without the misinformation that you don't.
Let us break down the problem and tell you what we're doing and what you can do to help solve it.
Hi, everybody. We're going to talk about what would happen if Roe got overturned today, and then also some state-specific laws that make it harder for people to access abortions. So it's me and Morgan, and then we also have a guest. Nick is back to talk to us because do you want to explain what your appreciation, I don't know, your advocacy for abortion rights?
Well, I've been fighting for reproductive freedom for years now. Right after I got involved in the first place, I started working for the best possible primary challenger to the worst congressman of all time, which I think people know on this podcast. I worked for Marie Newman, who is a strong progressive champion on a number of things, but really on reproductive rights. And so from there, started working with NARAL Pro-Choice America. We passed a great bill in Illinois that really repealed a lot of the old antiquated stuff that was still on the books that was incredibly restrictive toward anyone who wanted to access abortion. And in between, doing a lot of other stuff with other strong progressives. So I also wrote some of my master's on this. So I'm not totally unqualified. I know what I'm talking about today.
Oh, no, you're very qualified, actually. The opposite. Okay, I'm going to give a brief overview of the history of Roe and how we got to where we are today. Feel free to jump in whenever you guys want. But basically, nobody used to give a shit about abortion. Women have been controlling their family planning forever. They saw it as a family planning decision, whether we can care for this child or not. And then Republicans kind of weaponized it as a wedge issue. Truly before the 70s and 80s, nobody really gave a shit. It was just it's freedom of choice. The opposite of abortion is forced pregnancy, which is an incredibly fucked up thing. And international human rights laws recognize and protect access to safe abortion and legal abortion as essential. And that it includes the right to life, health, equality, non-discrimination, privacy, bodily autonomy, freedom from cruelty. It's just efforts to ban abortion in the United States run directly counter to human rights protections. So just that's the baseline I would like to set is we shouldn't even have to be talking about any of this because women or people who give birth are more than capable of making these decisions for themselves. It is just rich white dudes stepping in to tell women what they should do with their bodies.
Right. We like to think
baseline is bullshit.
Yeah, we like to think we have a really progressive society now compared to Victorian England or before, but it's there was less restriction then on women controlling their reproductive freedom than there is now in a lot of different ways, and that makes me angry.
Yeah, my baseline for this is very angry. So, and I don't think people realize how that we could regress, easily could regress because Trump put 3 conservative Supreme Court justices on the court, which in a future episode, I'm sure we will talk about court reform. But okay, so in 1970...
I want to have an episode, and we can cut this if we want to, but I want to have an episode on why are there so many Catholics on the Supreme Court? What the fuck? Who even knows that many Catholics besides other Catholics?
Yeah. I think that's kind of the point.
Don't even get me started on the Catholic Church this week.
I'm reading Priest Daddy right now, and it is so good.
What is that?
Priest Daddy? That sounds
Daddy.
like it's either really gross or kind of sexy.
It's
I'm not gonna lie.
Hey,
good.
That about Father Plager?
I'm only halfway through. They've already mentioned a fucked up priest. Her dad, I'm sure I'll talk about this at another time. It's by Patricia Lockwood, but basically she was raised by a Catholic priest. Her dad, they have 5 kids. He was a Lutheran minister, and then he applied to the Vatican to be a Catholic priest, a married Catholic priest, and they were sure, I don't care. So they let him be a Catholic priest. He has 5 kids and he's married, and it seems I've gotten to the part in the book where he's going to start doing some covering up for some bad priests. So it's about to get interesting. I mean, it's been interesting this entire time because she's a normal person. She sees how weird it was being raised in that culture. But No, we should. I don't know. I'm sure I'll talk about it more in the
well,
future.
like literally,
you would really like this book.
Even the Catholics didn't really care about abortion until they
Mhm.
realized that they could lose like tax exempt status for their fucking schools and all that.
Yeah, it's all to like keep their.
We're not
hateful
talking about
together.
the Catholic Church. I get it.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
So
you can have our nun friends on.
Oh my God, do you think they would do it?
Yeah.
If they would talk to Samantha Bee, why wouldn't they talk to me?
Oh my God, yeah, I'm talking to them on Friday. Do you want me to ask?
Ask if I can Zoom it, or just ask. Yes, please. That'd be great. So in 1973, the landmark Supreme Court ruling Roe versus Wade established abortion as a fundamental human right, recognizing that the specific protection for liberty in the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution includes the right to decide whether to continue or end a pregnancy. And now that there's a 6-3 conservative majority, if an abortion case makes it to the Supreme Court, it's definitely possible that Roe could fall or be like weakened to the point where basically there would be abortion deserts and abortion havens, depending on which state you live in. If Roe were overturned or limited, abortion would remain legal in 21 states and it would be prohibited in 24 states and 3 territories.
One of those is definitely my state.
It's actually Iowa and Illinois are like the same.
Really?
So yes, surprisingly.
Not for long. Not if Kim Reynolds gets another term.
Yeah.
Well,
all
Iowa,
states. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think Iowa safeguarded abortion access as part of their state constitution.
Yes, which I think is what Illinois did too.
Was that a Vilsack thing? That sounds like a Vilsack thing.
I have no idea. I just know that all states fall somewhere between hostile to abortion protections and expanded abortion protections. So there are states like California, Hawaii, Washington, New York, Connecticut, they have expanded abortion access. So that means that they've instituted something like public funding for abortions where like they're like, oh yeah, poor women deserve to get abortions too. And some states have protected abortion access like Illinois and Iowa. And then in a couple states, it's not protected where there's nothing keeping it protected, but also like nothing that's stopping anybody shitty. Like if the federal law gets overturned, there's nothing there that would protect the women there. And then in a bunch of states around us, specifically in like the Midwest and the South, their legislature is already hostile to abortion. And just a reminder, this is all bullshit. Nobody needs to be giving a fuck about any of this at all. Forever and ever, women have managed their own family planning and abortions, and nobody gave a shit about it. But we have to talk about it because they made it a law.
I believe in small government, and I don't think the government should get to decide my medical care. Thanks.
Yeah. But like white dudes want to control you, and they're in charge of most of this stuff. So I can't help you. But one of the ways that we overpolice and control women and young people who get pregnant for no good reason is with parental notification and parental consent laws. So in order for them to be constitutional, they must provide a process whereby a judge can approve a minor's petition without parental involvement. But basically, Nick, this is like your expertise. It's your baby. Do you want to talk about repealing parental notice of abortion in Illinois?
Yes. So really, after Roe v. Wade happened in 1973, a slew of horrible laws kind of got enacted because every state was like, oh my God, we can have people getting abortions now. This is bad. We need to stop them. And so that is exactly what happened in every state. So Illinois has had a few incarnations of horrible laws, including some that we've repealed. We've had a law where anyone who wanted an abortion had to have a written note from their spouse at the time. We've had other things like parental notice, which has been on the books in different forms since 1975 in different ways. But up until only a few years ago, the court ruled that all of those were unconstitutional, specifically parental notice. And it was largely due to technical things like it was violating due process, or it put too much emphasis on protecting the state instead of the individual, which is really the loophole that states can minimize access to abortion like this. But since the 70s, there have been so many attacks on women specifically through the legislatures in every state. And Illinois is really a great opportunity right now where we can change that in the right direction. So specifically, the bill that we're trying to get rid of now is Parental Notice of Abortion Act of 1995, which was not enforced until 2013. So, the reason for that is because it was kicked around in the courts so many times because it was such a horribly written law. What it requires is anyone who's a minor, so younger than 18, has to they have to notify at least one of their parents or guardians to get an abortion. And if they don't, they have to go to court, and that's judicial bypass. And so that's the exemption for if they don't want to tell their parent. The problem in this is that that whole system is like inequity perpetual. Like that is I can't even begin to describe how horrible that is. Navigating the court system as an adult is terrifying. I don't even know where to find a lawyer, but imagine doing that when you are a minor and also pregnant. And so that is what this law does. And it also just adds additional steps. Most people that are going through the process of seeking an abortion, if they are a minor, tell their parents anyway.
If they have a parent that they're comfortable talking to, I promise they're already going to talk to them.
Yeah, and like the data backs it up too. Like there are studies that run through minors from as young as 13 years old, and they tell both of their parents most of the time anyway. As you get older, that changes a little bit, but it still hovers over 50%. The problem is that smaller population, that 40 to 50% who tell either or have to tell one parent or go to court. And those largely fall on, because we know there's like one data set always. It's the BIPOC communities and the lower income community. And, we say things like, oh, well, Illinois is a safe state. We can access abortion. That's not the case if you drive south of Chicagoland. There might be one clinic downstate. In Rockford, they closed their abortion clinic, and the closest one is 5 hours away. So you can't just have it be legal. You have to have access to it, and that's really what we're focused on. So
it seems like if they were going to then make a pregnant teenager navigate the court systems, that would just delay the abortion. And I mean, if we're going to also talk about like late term abortions, which like quote unquote, what is a late term abortion anyway? Like then you're just getting further into that, like, oh, now it's not a clump of cells, it's a baby thing. Like just, we should be expediting this. We should not creating extra steps. Sensitive. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. Well, you can't legislate healthy family communication. You know, like the people who aren't telling their parents about it are not telling them because they're like fearful or will like lose their housing or whatever. Judicial bypass gets granted pretty much every time. It's just like an annoying process. The restrictions are irrational, and also every leading medical organization publicly opposes forced parental involvement laws. So like let's listen to experts. This is just like total bullshit. Handmaid's Tale, reminder, was inspired by like real life shit. Like those books were not inspired by fantasy. They were inspired by real laws in real places. And actually, I'm going to read the states that are hostile to abortion, where it would like legal protections would go away if Roe was overturned. Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, South Dakota, the only state we don't have any listeners in. Somebody send this to your friend in South Dakota.
Nobody lives in South Dakota, Katie.
We're going to get like one of the 12 people who do. Okay? I just want one. Tennessee, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. Those would be like the abortion deserts. And then places like Washington, Oregon, California would be like abortion havens. if Roe gets overturned, and it's not unlikely that an abortion case will end up at the Supreme Court and it'll get weakened. And I think people are like, well, Joe Biden's president, everything's fine. And it's like, oh yeah, well, I forgot we stacked the courts with religious extremists. I'm so tired.
Hey, you gotta like take an edible. Like
me? Am I stressed out right now? It's only noon. I can't take an edible right now. The whole rest of my day will just like, I guess I don't really have anything else to do today. Can I tell you? Okay, you're right. Can I tell you a nice story? We got our new foster cat today.
Yeah.
She's pregnant. She's going to have babies in like 2 weeks. She is so friendly. She's like gray and white. I'll show you a picture. She hated the car, but she's so friendly. She's already like rubbing up against me and like purring, and they did an ultrasound this time, and they promised me that she's only going to have 2 to 3 kittens. Last time they told me she was going to have a regular number, and then they had 9. It was Super Tuesday, and I'll never forget. It was the most stressful day of my life. But
I did feel very bad for you that day.
It was terrible. Good to be distracted because it was bad news politically. I did not have, whatever. And our annoying, chaos kitten is getting neutered right now. So maybe he'll be less of a nuisance. And then he's getting adopted on Saturday. So it'll just be kitten watch in the maternity ward.
Okay, well, share exciting? Pictures of your pregnant cat with the class. Thank you.
I'll make some Instagram posts.
Okay.
Well, what else did we miss? Anything else that we didn't cover? Talk to experts. Listen to experts, please. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The only people impacted by this policy are the people that it hurts, as is the case with like so many conservative policies, because it sounds good in their head, but then the way that the impact ends up being like racist, sexist, whatever, whether they meant for that to happen or not, that is what ends up happening. Like if abortion clinics move from close to you to 450 miles away, abortion rates will go down, like we know, which means that people are having babies that they wanted to not have, which is a bad situation for everybody.
I feel like what you said, like it only affects the people that it hurts is mm-hmm. such a that's just such a true statement for so many policies around not only abortion but like everything else, or like evangelical Christianity mm-hmm. as a whole, right? Like, yeah, it's really only harmful. Like nobody's actually helped by this in a way that they couldn't have been anyway. It's only doing harm. And with it's also, there's no accountability, and it makes me mad. We're fueled by rage on this podcast.
I know. I want to do, I don't know. It's all I have anymore is rage, and then like depression. I don't know. But
our spin-off podcast is depression.
Great. Rage and depression. I've been thinking a lot about like arbitrary rules because of the Meghan Markle interview and how like there's a lot of arbitrary rules in the monarchy, but it's made me think of like arbitrary. It's just like a distraction. It's just like
there's a lot of arbitrary rules in government as well.
And a lot of it's because of religion, which is ridiculous. Like there is no non-moral, there's no argument against abortion except for like your weird moral one that you've attached to religion, which doesn't belong in government anyway.
Well, and even just like the length of time that things take from like a policy standpoint, mm-hmm. or even like when your government is working for you or trying to work from you, the arbitrary rules slow it down mm-hmm. and sometimes mean it doesn't happen at all, or mm-hmm. it only happens for people who have certain types of access that others do not. And so when we talk about things like the social determinants of health and health equity, abortion care is wrapped up into that.
For sure.
Like women's health care in general, but and yeah, like there's just it's all like this ugly Venn diagram,
and it traps women in cycles of poverty.
Yeah, the courts.
We shut down courts here for months with COVID. Like we were talking earlier about like how long the process takes. Like this is exactly how it was designed. This mm-hmm. is not pro-life at all.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, one of the like articles are that a lot of conservatives like to share that to them is an argument opposed against abortion in general, or like what they call like late term abortion. When you actually read the article, abortions after 20 weeks that are not due to a medical, necessity would be basically non-existent if they removed all of the barriers to receiving an abortion. Like, it would be such a small number.
Yeah. If Science Versus has a really, really good podcast episode about abortion, not like the morality of it, just like the reality of it, like what a late term abortion means and like how common it is. It's really, really good. So
also, Jen Gunter is a great resource. Dr. Jen Gunter, if anybody.
She's on Twitter for sure. Is she anywhere else?
She's on TikTok.
Ooh. How
right?
How
aren't I young and fresh?
TikTok.
I mean, I don't think I can really figure it out either.
I've tried. I think it would be a really like great place to. It's like really. I mean, I'm sure she's using it to educate people. I think it would be a great place to educate people. I cannot figure out how to make a video. I mean, I haven't tried that hard, but like it was very confusing and I gave up. I like rage quit kind of.
Okay, one of the, I think maybe the big questions though for Nick is how like likely are we to have Roe fall, or like how close are we to actually like the abortion apocalypse?
We're pretty close, I'd say.
Yeah, I feel like that's
bad news.
Get your long-acting birth control now, ladies. Get that IUD.
It's like the good news is we have a Democratic trifecta, so we can pass legislation that codifies abortion access. We can really do anything we want there. It's going to get hung up in the courts. So like any case now that's working its way through the appellate level could eventually end up at the Supreme Court, and they are the ones that can determine whether or not Roe will fall. At the state level, we have issues too. I mean, when you look at why parental notice wasn't enforced for decades and why it finally came back in 2013, it's because we have horrible people leading our state Supreme Court. In Illinois, the person who wrote the majority opinion that said that we can enforce parental notice finally is Justice Ann Burke, who name might sound a little familiar, but she is the wife of indicted corrupt Alderman Ed Burke from the 14th Ward in Chicago.
That's right.
These are people who are notorious for preserving the status quo, protecting themselves, lining their own pockets, and really saying fuck you to everybody else. And until we get better judges elected, in Illinois we elect them, but we have to...
And they almost always get reelected because nobody looks into their judges.
Well, it's very difficult. Finding a judicial record is not as easy and accessible as seeing someone's opinion on abortion. You have to really dig through like Legistar, which nobody knows how to do. So I'm here to tell you, Ann Burke sucks. Ed Burke sucks. Really, the entire machine's got to go, but that's beside the point for today.
We're chipping
so
away.
Many assholes this week.
Really, if we stopped electing assholes, we would not even have to have a podcast anymore. But
it's true.
Maybe eventually. But for real, if you
Katie, we're going to be very old before we get to that point.
It's okay. This feels like therapy. I just remembered, I don't know if people know this, but when you were mentioning like how long it takes legislation to move through wherever, like Roe, which is not her real name, but like she had her baby. Like it didn't become legal in time for her to like receive relief or what she was searching for. I mean, like, actually, and then later she pretended to be pro-life to scam the pro-lifers, and then on her deathbed confessed that she was pro-choice the whole time. She just wanted money. I respect it.
I do respect that, actually.
Yeah.
I respect that a lot.
I mean, it was a little bit shitty while she was pretending she was pro-life, but like,
well, yeah.
at the end she was like, gotcha.
I also like, speaking of respect, like I know that we're always telling people with uteri anyway, that they should like get long acting birth control if they can. But also, you know what is like huge props, very sexy gentlemen listening, or people with penises that are possibly going to, contribute to population growth. Get a vasectomy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like,
my friend's
nothing
husband just got one.
is sexier to a woman who does not want to get pregnant than a man whispering in her ear, I got a vasectomy. So like, just do it.
And without like the pain of an IUD insertion, the like hormones of a pill, like.
Right. Then you don't have to worry about being that asshole on Reddit that's like, I begged her not to have an abortion and now she left me with the kid. Like, not my problem. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like,
no, we're very pro other kinds of long-acting birth control also.
Yeah. Like, people who don't want to have children should not have to. And that's that. So it should be so simple.
All right. I said everything in my post. Do you want to talk about like reading things you're reading or watching or listening to or whatever? I'm going to look up the bio for Priest Daddy so I can read about it.
You should probably tell people how to get involved, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How to repeal this law.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick, tell us how we can get rid of this. And what about, like, I'll put a link in the bio so that people can look and see if their state is like hostile or a haven or whatever, so you guys can check and see what you are. But like, I think so Nick's going to talk about like what specifically people in Illinois can do, but like wherever you are, you can move along the continuum from like hostile to protected, or like we're trying to move from protected to like expanded access, or like getting rid of these like unnecessary laws that only harm and do not help. Okay, sorry. So Nick, tell us what can we do?
Okay, so if you're in Illinois, the best thing you can do is to go to repealpna.org. They have a lot of information on there, from talking points, how to frame the bill when you're talking to people, fact sheets for legislators, and also options to take action. So if you want to make calls to people in different state legislative districts, that's important. We also need our state senators and state representatives to support the bill to repeal PNA in the House and Senate. In the Senate, it's SB 2190, and in the House, it's HB 1797. So, yeah, take action there.
Thanks. That's helpful. Anything else before we move on to the fun stuff? I mean, I guess you could always give money to like Planned Parenthood Action Fund. That's always a good place. No? Is that wrong? Ben, take that out. Nick, tell me what to do.
They have a ton of money. Give it to a Black-led organization.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially, like a lot of your local Black Lives Matters chapters will tell you where to give your money.
Or just abortion funds are.
Yeah, give it to, I mean, I have a list for Illinois, but.
Do you want to, can you send it to me after this? Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a list for like my Des Moines area, but I'm sure there's others in some more rural areas of Iowa as well.
Yeah. But yeah, just keep in mind that lack of access to abortion traps women in cycles of poverty, basically. So yeah, if you're in a position, I mean, advocate legislatively. If you have money to give, Nick's gonna send us a list of organizations. This is a nice thing. I can't believe I almost forgot to say this. For the episode that we did about Flint a couple weeks ago, Chicago delayed the permit for General Iron, asking for data on cumulative impact of pollution from related businesses.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
I know. I almost cried yesterday. I was like, oh my God, it worked. Or at least it worked temporarily.
Yay.
But isn't that so nice?
Oh,
so thanks to everybody who called or signed our petition or whatever.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Good
All
deal.
right. Are you guys Are you reading anything or watching anything that makes you want to die less?
I don't know about less, but I finally got a free trial to HBO and I'm watching The Wire. I know I'm like 12 years late, but I'm very excited. It's such a, I mean, it's heavy, but it just hits on like real world problems that were relevant in the early aughts and still now today. Just the clothing's a little bit different. So yeah, watching The Wire, very excited about that. And just finished Educated by Tara Westover.
Oh, did
finally
you like it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
very good. Yeah. And so yeah, I think last time I talked about braiding sweetgrass. Now I've done Educated, and now I'm reading. Haven't actually started it yet. It's by Glennon Doyle. I don't remember what it's
Untamed?
called. Already did that one. Oh, Untamed is great. Mm-hmm. And no self-respecting straight woman is going to read Untamed and then stay in her boring ass like cis white male relationship.
Oh, they're not?
No.
The book you just read?
Untamed by Glennon Doyle? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like,
okay, great.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
cool.
I mean, so
that's those are my favorite kind of books. Also, that's what I hope this podcast is. I hope people listen to this and they're like, oh, my boyfriend's shitty. I'm going to leave him. And I'll be like, I know, but also I was there. Like, don't feel bad. There's just a lot of shitty ones to choose from.
Yeah.
You have
so the one I just downloaded is like one of her old ones from before she met and married Abby. So I'm excited about the, juxtaposition of the two.
The book that I'm reading right now, Priest Daddy, reminds me of Untamed a little bit. But I'm going to read you the bio because I think you'd like it so much.
Who's it by?
Patricia Lockwood, who is really like a poet, but she wrote a book about this, but I can't find a good summary. Okay. In Priest Daddy, Lockwood recounts her upbringing as a daughter of a married Lutheran minister who converted to Catholicism, becoming one of the few married Catholic priests. The book chronicles her return as an adult to live in her father's rectory and deals with issues of family, belief, belonging, and adulthood. But it's basically just like her parents are insane, but she like loves them still. So who can't? Okay. I don't know. It's a good book. She basically she's a poet, and I forget what her husband does, but like they came on like tough times and moved back in so that they didn't have to pay rent. And like she's trying to make it as a poet. So like every once in a while her poems get published in like the New York Times and the New Yorker and whatever, but like meanwhile, she's living in a rectory with her family and like random priests who come and go. It's weird. It's weird stuff. Huh. It's really good. Yeah. And then we got our new foster cat. So for a little bit, we'll have the chaotic kitten is getting neutered probably as we record, and we got a new pregnant foster cat that is in our basement. She's in the maternity ward. She's gray and white, and she is so sweet. I'm so excited. I don't know, to meet her kittens. So she'll probably have 2 or 3 kittens. They promised me 2 or 3 kittens this time in a couple weeks, and then we'll probably have them for like 3 or 4 months, and then they'll get adopted. But
that just reminded me, I gotta like track down some traps. The weather's warm. It's kitten season. I gotta go get back. I gotta TNR some cats because otherwise I'm just gonna end up doing a bunch of kitty abortions, and I'd rather get them in ahead of time.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that just reminded me. God,
that's
how's
current
kitten season?
I know. I was gonna say it feels like you just stopped.
I know. It feels way too soon for this. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, cats. Morgan, do you want to record an outro to this closer to when it comes out?
Yeah, I can talk about how I won't have any side effects from my vaccine. That everybody can feel like they should go get one too.
Yes. And we can record the guinea pigs too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm not at home with the little weakers.
Okay.
They are something.
Cool. Good?
Perfect.
Good. No? Good? Yes? Okay.
Anything else? Anyone we should be nominating for the pit or other things we should be like reading, watching, paying attention to?
I'm going to nominate the person, I can't remember his name, whoever proposed the Hyde Amendment was from Illinois. He was a senator or a rep from Illinois. Didn't know that. Fuck that guy.
He's dead now. It's okay.
Fuck him anyway. I'm going to go pee on his grave. I'm not. Never peed on anybody's grave. Just shit about them
not that you know of.
Yeah, I haven't intentionally peed on anybody's grave. So, I'm a good person. Okay. I can't wait to have eyes inside Congress. What the fuck? Can't wait to really know what's going on.
You already kind of do. It's like I tell you all the time.
I know, but an actual, I don't know. It's different. I mean, it's not, it's just an extra little level of knowing what the fuck is going on and what matters. Okay, I'm going to eat lunch, I think. I don't have anything to do the rest of the day till nighttime.
I got to go back to work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry, Morgan.
I'm being a very bad employee today anyway, so it doesn't.
Thank you guys so much for listening to For Your Misinformation. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast, and if you like it, give us a rating and a review.
It helps us find more listeners, and the more of us there are, the better. And make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FYMI Pod.
Shout out to Ben Schlofelt for the audio production, Hope Dye for the podcast art, Kyle Dibdahl for the intro and outro music, and Adam Roston, who edits these videos every week so you can watch them on YouTube.
We come out with new episodes every Monday.